So out of interest, one of the things that, so my kind of the show, if you want to call it that I kind of do is always kind of to do with business strategy and almost how you think through different business models and almost, how people grow kind of moving forward. So for yourself as a dentist, if you ignore the technical side of it in terms of actually fixing people, do you still have to consider everything to do with sales, marketing, branding, that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. So I think this is more of a modern day way of thinking of it. Traditionally, the associate worked for the practice. The practice took care of all the marketing. They did all the business side of it, the sales side of it, and that was the kind of traditional model. I think nowadays, especially with the rise of corporate dental practices, sort of buying up all the single-handed or the small businesses, dentists are a lot more becoming a personal brand, I suppose. I guess, which is where it throws similarities in with yourself. Is a lot of dentists are branding themselves, and it's something that I'm doing as well. And so trying to become my own sort of entity and branding it as me working in that practice.
Exactly the same. Because it's almost, for me, is that when my 3 previous jobs, actually, I'm going to be careful what I say here, but there's a reason why I chose to work for myself. And again, it's almost the way I kind of try and articulate it is, although I officially launched as people could hire me as of October, arguably I've been building my brand for the last 10, 12 years. Everything from all of the videos and, your kind of posts and different things, because actually people hire you as opposed to just the brand is the way I kind of see it. So I completely 100% agree. So out of interest, and basically what I want to do is almost pick your brains. What do you see as the main drivers? And actually an interesting question. Who do you actually target? Do you target practices who would hire you to do a job? And because that's what I do. Or do you brand yourself in a B2C kind of, for the end customer?
Yeah, I'd say as more of like a B2C, because as an associate, we're working in a place. And so I think, again, that's why myself, it's a little bit different because I work in 2 practices, but basically for the same person. So we just work across 2 sites. Obviously, a lot of associates who take the same route as me will work with multiple companies. So a lot of our advertising and sales stuff is driven B2C because we're aiming at, you can say, directly at our patients. So offering our services and what we do. And then we like to try and drive a lot of in-house stuff as well. So recommendations from patients, because in healthcare, that's still the biggest driver, although you can do the traditional marketing in that sense, and a lot of people are on Instagram as dentists now. It's hugely popular thing, and Facebook and stuff. But yeah, I think straight to consumer for us is still where where that basis is.
I'm just trying to think this through almost as a business model. So, for instance, my local dentist is the one I picked because it's local. It's almost a funny thing, because from a strategy point of view, imagine you had a practice, which I guess you kind of do. It's almost that balance of where. And most businesses, not all, most businesses want to grow. And I guess it's that balance of where most practices, again, probably have a capacity. So like your trading times, I'm going to guess, are probably 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. and then maybe 1. But my point is, but there's a limited number of appointments per day that you can actually kind of do. So in that case, do practice owners or business owners then just look to buy more practices? Or is it, one of my later questions I'll save, but it's almost, I guess you've already answered the question and I'm answering it myself just because I like to thinking it through. So you do actually get bigger corporations that purposely buy practices to aggressively grow, like mergers and acquisitions?
Yeah. So I'm going to say that aspect is, like I say, from a practice owner side of things, definitely. So you're getting the big corporates, so things like Bupa, for example, My Dentist, Roderick's, they're sort of the bigger corporates in the game.
Mine is a My Dentist, and outside so it's on Durham Road, which is in Gateshead, and there's this really hideous rockery of a giant pair of lips outside. And it's just someone's missed the mark on the taste angle. So when you go past on the bus, you can see this thing. But no, I mean, that kind of makes a lot of sense. So then So almost it's like a freelancer market within a larger marketplace. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, as an associate, yeah, it's freelance, but with a little bit less freedom. Is probably the easiest way of explaining it.
I've got
When you take on an associateship, you're not always tied in. Personally, I'm not tied in per se contractually to stay there.
okay.
But we had an agreement whereas this is what I wanted to do in my career, this is what my boss wanted from me, and obviously we made that kind of agreement. But it's also then harder to just sort of move around because you have a duty of care to patients. You can't just go tomorrow. That's it for me. I'm not turning up anymore. We have a period of time where we have to be there.
But almost based on that is that, you know, from past experience, if you have a good workplace, a good environment, you know, you probably want to stay there. And it's that kind of thing is that when, you know, people always think that the grass can be greener, so they get frustrated with stuff. But actually, if you find a good workplace, it's probably worth its weight in gold. And it's that same kind of thing that one of the things that I love about my job is building the personal relationships with different teams. And the more you get embedded into it, that's actually what gets me excited every day. And I want to do a good job for same, you know, people. So I guess it's almost similar with yourself that when you have a good, I guess, practice, you know, good kind of group of people.